How did you make of how Antonio Conte went about it? Did you want to see more from them?
I think that's difficult to judge, and as we record, this is right after the game is finished, so I haven't heard Antonio's comments, post-game comments, just yet. But I thought the first half went as Spurs would expect, sitting back, soaking pressure up. The front three, Richarlison, Kane, and Son, I thought looked dangerous. Again, at times I thought Arsenal invited that, but I thought they looked as you would hope or expect. And then Spurs looked as good and exactly as they have done under Antonio Conte. So I understand exactly why, especially with it being 1-1 at halftime, away from home, why the suggestion is that Antonio Conte would have been the happier of the two managers at that point. But the sending off changed the game.
Yeah.
It changed how Spurs had to go about things. You're already down, down 10 men. It changed everything about Spurs, their game plan, what was needed, and in the end, what gaps were afforded Arsenal in Arsenal's attacking third, and that brought the third goal, and that killed it. But like I say, for all the complaints that Spurs will have, and I think they are absolutely right. I didn't think it was a red card. I thought it was a yellow. They are absolutely right. They'll feel aggrieved. As much as Arsenal may celebrate and feel that this was all warranted and they'll support the red card. Me being as neutral as I possibly can, I thought Arsenal were deserving of the 3 points. Spurs were not deserving of that red card. And maybe that last, 25 minutes, half an hour, whatever it was, that Spurs had to play with 10 men would have changed things, because Spurs are pragmatic under Antonio Conte, so can't really be judged on their possession or position of their play.
And overall, because this is the North London derby, because it was on paper a big win for Arsenal, there's temptation to go into panic station for Spurs fans. But when you look at it, I mean, we speak about, of course, Spurs' improvements under Conte as well. This is actually their only loss of the season so far in the Premier League, and rightfully so in what has been probably their biggest test. How overall, Shaka, how worried would you be after this? Surely not that much.
No, I'm not. If I'm Antonio Conte, I'm angry, but I'm not worried. You lose a game. I think good teams are about how they respond. You're going to lose a game at some point, right? Yeah. We accept that. We can have those discussions around Man City or Liverpool when they were flying best. Whether, as you go deep into the season, we start having these discussions, whether they'll ever lose a game, whether it'll be another invincibles or untouchables, whatever the phrase was used around that Arsenal team. But I don't think you ever realistically have those conversations or expectations around anybody else. So that loss was going to come. And for Spurs, it was all about the response. They've got a Champions League game in midweek, and then I can't remember who they played in the league next weekend. And that's where they'll be judged. I think if you're Antonio Conte, you're not as concerned about the loss as you are about the response. And that's what you'll be hoping to see from your Spurs.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.